All right, hey everybody, and welcome to Chiu Stream, where we talk about art and life as an artist. I'm your host, Bobby Chiu, and today we are going to be doing something fun and different. Always trying to do something different these days. Today, it's going to be a collaboration painting, okay? And the very first 20 minutes, the very first 17 minutes or so, this is just Masae Seki and I sketching and painting. Well, currently it's actually only Masae because you can only see one cursor. But yeah, the main thing I want to express here is that we're going to be actually painting and drawing together. And then after about 17, 18 minutes or so, that's when the video will stop and we'll cut straight into the painting as it was at that point. And then we're going to be inviting a bunch of other artists to paint with us. People that we've already invited. Okay, so in case you're wondering, how do I get to paint with you? Well, you can't right now. Okay. All right, so there you go. And the other thing I want to mention is that we have questions. Okay, so questions, you can see it on the screen there, the bottom, the lower third there, it says send questions to slido.com #ChiuStream. Okay, and you could go ahead and do that, and we can upvote the ones that you want to have answered the most, and or you could just ask your own questions. All right, so there we go. Now, Masae, you're already on the stream here, and as well as Kofi. Kofi is going to be one of the artists that will be joining us, and in case you didn't know, or in case you weren't at Lightbox Expo, Kofi was one of our incredible guests that participated in Lightbox. And same with Masae. Masae, you guys both actually presented stuff. So how's it going?
Good.
Going awesome.
Fantastic. I love this idea, Masae. You're the one that really set this all up, so thank you for setting this up. What did you do here? Maybe you can explain how, the activity, how it started.
Okay, so using the Magma Studio app or the browser, because it's a collaborative canvas that multiple artists can work on, I thought what's a great way for many people to kind of work on the same piece. But there's times when artists kind of take up a lot of space, or it butts into each other's drawing area. So I thought, what, it'd be awesome if we can start off with an image and then work on top of that. And I thought a classroom would be the perfect idea because everyone's got their individual seats to be in, and we can create our own little drawing.
And it's a hot topic right now, doing back to class, that kind of stuff. It's a pretty hot topic right now.
That's very true.
Now, what shall we talk about here? What's on your radar these days? I could start with something. Somebody texted me yesterday, and he was like, did Lightbox happen? Does it feel like a dream to you? Right, and that's exactly how I felt last year. I don't know how your experience was after the event happened.
This year?
Yeah, did you have any kind of withdrawal?
Definitely. I feel like every convention is, there's that period right after where you're like, oh, I guess that happened, but did it, it feels like it went by so fast. For me, just because I was able to attend the physical Lightbox last year, it felt a bit more it's sunk in because I'm still in LA, I'm still around artists. But for this one, it's you're just sitting in your own space, you're staring at the screen for many hours if you chose to, and then the moment it finishes, you're pulled back into your space, your reality, your home, and it just felt like you were saying, a dream.
Yeah, and I see Andrea from well, she's going to be on the stream today. Andrea's in the audience. So,
Yay.
Andrea, you have the Zoom link. You could come on in and join us on Zoom, and then we could
Awesome.
chat while this video fills up the rest of the page, and then we'll all paint together.
Mm.
Mm.
But yeah, for myself, this year's rendition of Lightbox was my first experience at a comic convention, and I think you guys really went above and beyond. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed the experience. I enjoyed all of the content that was available, and like there was so much talent gathered in one place, and that was really awesome. It's really cool.
Mhm.
Well, thanks. That's very encouraging to hear. Um, we it was actually more work than the in-person event, if you can believe that.
Wow.
Right? Because also the in-person event, it's like people know what an online or a convention is,
Hmm.
but we didn't feel like people really understood the online convention that we wanted to put on.
Mm.
Right? So there's a lot of education that happens there uh, when you're trying to really push the envelope. You're really trying to evolve the game, and you need hundreds and then tens of thousands of people to be involved. Yeah, that gets quite difficult, which we found. But in the end, it just took a lot of hours, a lot of hard work, and a lot of calls to get everybody on the same page. That was great.
Mhm.
Definitely.
Mhm.
I wonder, were you able to like sleep during the event? Because it looked like running stuff in the background would be like a whole lot of work, coordinating all of the different artists, the different events and all of that.
Absolutely, it totally was. Um, oh, by the way, there, I could see Andrea, you also joined onto the board now. You can also join in the Zoom call with us and have a microphone if you want to, Andrea. I sent you a link yesterday, I believe. Uh, I believe I did. If I didn't, let me know. All right, so there's a bunch of questions coming in.
Mm.
I would love to get to some. This one is from Anu. Anu asks, how do you respond to the rejection of your job application? It's hard for me when I see my dream company rejected my application. Um, I will start with I'll start with a little example. I hope it's okay, Masae, because this
Yeah.
involves you.
Yeah,
I think
totally.
I think you
I,
know where what I'm getting at here.
yeah, yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
yeah, and so when I first met Masae, she applied for the studio, applied for a co-op, I believe. Remember?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, like
okay.
a assistant job or something.
Yes, yes, assistant. And I forget why, but we didn't take you that very first time.
Hmm.
Then what happened was, you wrote back a nice message, I
Mhm.
believe, and then we met each other again
Yeah, at Fan Expo.
at Fan Expo, which is a
Yeah,
convention in Toronto,
yeah.
and you came up. I believe you came up to our booth and you said hi in the most friendliest, in the most genuine way. And that was the thing that really just like pushed you over the top for me, because I was like, that's that's how we should react with any kind of rejection. It's difficult, right? But we don't know the full story. We don't know exactly why we got rejected, and if we can just keep our cool and be nice about it and be very gracious in in your rejection, in your defeat or whatever, a lot of times that's what can change things. And that's what changed things for me, because right after that convention we called you up and we're like, yeah, we would love to hire you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's all about that
Definitely.
attitude.
It is. I
Oh,
think it's a big part of job searching is when you do it. I mean, you want to expect like good things, but sometimes things just don't go your way. But there, I feel like just keeping a positive attitude will keep you afloat, and also like work hard for the next thing that's gonna come your way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And by the way, just wanted to welcome Andrea. Hey, Andrea.
Hi.
Hello.
yeah.
Hi.
So Andrea's going to be drawing with us momentarily as well as this
Yay.
little video fills up the board. Um, yeah, we were just talking about attitude, about rejection, things like that. And I could
Mm.
tell you why I really respected the way that Masae kind of approached us afterwards, even after we said no to her in the beginning. Um, that really means something to me because most of the time, that's what I got. Even
Mm.
nowadays, I'll get no's. It's just I really don't even remember them anymore, because they don't mean no to me. They just mean not right now.
Yeah.
You
Mm-hmm.
need to
Okay.
come back,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
right, in a different
So
way.
true. So
Yeah.
true.
Did any of you guys have anything to add to that before we move on?
Um, I guess I think personally it's probably better to get rejections from the beginning than to get it on the spot, because in a way it's also humbling, and like it it doesn't make you get too ahead of yourself just because it's like, oh, you applied to the place that you want and you got it right away. It's like, next time, are you going to work hard for it? Maybe not, because you know you got what you wanted. But if it's something that you didn't get on your first go, then it should be a reason for you to keep going. It should be a reason for you to you know keep trying and all that.
And
Yeah.
and
The
to add to
attitude changes everything as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember the very first couple of days of quarantine. You wouldn't recognize Bobby then because I was sad and depressed and just feeling sorry for myself, But that's not going to do anything, right? And it was like once the attitude changed, everything else went along with it.
Mm.
Now, here's a. Well, actually, Andrea, did you get a chance to participate in Lightbox Expo?
Yeah, I did. I attended and I really enjoyed it.
Oh,
I mean,
fantastic!
yeah, it was awesome. I'm in Sweden, so I had to attend the classes during nighttime, so I was pretty exhausted afterwards.
yeah.
But I caught some really
Oh.
good ones, and I enjoyed the Magma Studio collabs.
Oh, fantastic!
So I'm definitely attending next time as
W-
well.
Well, and next time we are going to put more of an emphasis on making the programming a lot more even throughout the 24 hours as
Mm.
well. Uh, there was a lot of people that just wanted to present all at the same time.
Right.
So it got a little crazy that way.
I can imagine it's pretty tricky since people from all over the world were attending.
Yeah,
That was pretty nice
definitely.
to see. I mean, it didn't hinder anybody to join, and that was the best part.
Yeah, and hopefully, we could do that again real soon. Not too soon. I need a break. But
Oh,
here's
yeah.
another question. As this video is almost done, it's the classroom. It's filling up, and there's about 4 minutes left before we start all painting together, as well. So this next question is from CJ. CJ asks, "What was your favorite LBX memory from this year? Any highlights? Anybody?"
For me, it was Kim Jong-gi's interview with Stanford Kopenko. Like it was interesting, really hearing his thinking and how he approaches art. So that would be my highlight.
Was the biggest surprise that you didn't realize through that
Yeah.
interview? Did you have any
To
big surprise?
hmm. Yeah. Stan asked him a question on, does he sometimes feel like he wants to draw like other artists do. And he replied the question by saying, "Don't we all?" And he basically like reaffirmed that idea of artists like having that kind of insecurity about their own work and always striving to be better or, you know, yeah, trying to get better as artists. So like it was really interesting hearing that from Kim, who across the world he's really seen as like one of the top guys, like really up there. So like for him to say that was, yeah, it was really interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Like, I would assume most people are like that, but I actually would assume that Kim Jong-gi wouldn't be like that for some
Yeah.
reason, you know? Like, he wouldn't want to paint like anybody else or draw like anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Anybody else with any highlights from Lightbox Expo that you want to share?
Andrew, do you have anything?
Yeah, Sam Nilsson had a really good one about graphic design, like the power of graphic design in concept art and just illustration in general. And I mean, even though I've been doing this for a while now, design has always been something that I lack in. So it was perfect timing for me to watch his seminar about that, because that's something that you have at the back of your head when you draw, and you never really think about it because you're always caught up in the technical part, like the brushwork and the coloring and everything. But the shape language is a huge deal when you paint, and that's finally something that's sinking in for me. And so it was very like nutritious for me to follow along and learn about that. Just hear it again, just repeat that even more. It was very eye-opening.
I had a bunch of things that I really loved from the convention. And I think both of them are very low key, like not a lot of people knew. So after a long day of, you know, organizing or moderating or whatever, the day is done, and I would go into Discord, the Discord channel for Lightbox Expo, and I would just find people that were drawing on Magma, and then jump on their board, and I wouldn't connect with them audio wise. I'd just sit there and paint. I'd paint in a corner. I'd paint a little lizard or something like that, and just like, it's just fun because most of the time everybody, their cursors start to slow down, and they stop, then they hover around your drawing, you know, and then they start communicating with you through drawings, right? They draw a little heart. I draw little hearts on their drawing. It was great.
It's awesome.
Fun way.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite things. And then actually, this one doesn't count really, but it was afterwards. So, you know, this video started with a bunch of little creatures in there already. By the way, we're about to just go straight into the actual painting now. Right, actually. Yeah, so the painting is live. You guys can go ahead and start painting some extra people in there and everything. It might also be nice if we all just wrote our, like, social media handles, maybe on this purple guy's desk or something. You want to do that so everybody can know who this is and how to follow and stuff like that?
Yeah, great idea.
Awesome.
All right, I'll do that as well, just so you gotta get a sense. Digital. Go. Oops. There. All right. Yeah, the other thing I really liked about the event, or pretty much after the event, was using Magma with Masae. Like I was saying in the very beginning of this video, there were already some creatures already sitting in the classroom, and that was because Masae and we jumped onto YouTube and just did a spontaneous stream. and we just kind of just went for it, and then when the stream was done, I didn't save the video. I just shut everything down. I thought that was really fun just because it was very low pressure. And only the people that subscribed to the channel and hit the bell would have gotten the notification and got to see that video. So that might be a good kind of segue into, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and click on the bell.
Yeah. The YouTube button.
All right. And I also see Ellie. I saw Ellie on there somewhere. Ellie
I see
Hore.
her.
Okay, she's on there as well.
I see her icon.
I see your icon, Ellie. If you want to join in on the Zoom call. Same with who's this other one? Somebody else is joining us too. I forget. Somebody that I don't really know, but contacted me off the interwebs. All right, so let's go to another question here. This one's from Nacho. Nacho asks, when you were learning, do you ever feel like your art was below your potential, and that makes you less confident to create the art that you are capable of? How many of us actually feel like we're at our potential? I wonder that. Probably zero, right? Now, does that make any of us less confident? Do you ever feel less confident to create the art that that you want to create? Bit of a tough one.
Okay, I'll go first.
Yeah.
I do agree. Like, I don't think you, as a creative, you are ever at a point where you feel like you are at the highest point of your potential. Like, you keep striving to be better. But I think that shouldn't in any way stop you from like creating work, because at the end of the day, the more work you create over time, the better you get. So you should rather focus on, this is something James Jean said, you should focus more on your output than on creating like perfect work. Because you, Bobby, also said this, that you hate work that you create like a year from now. Like the work that you are so proud of today, a year from now, like you look back at it and you be like how was I creating such crappy looking work? So yeah, you should just create more and more work, and you always keep improving over time, I think.
That's great.
So that's my answer.
Yeah, I really try to create, or I really try to focus on the process, not the result. Right? And it's like, okay, did I try my hardest today? Did I just do nothing all day? That's what really I'm looking at. And if I did work hard but nothing came out, then I actually, now I've gotten to a point where I still feel good about it.
Just showing up.
Yeah, showing up. You know, I didn't just show up though. I tried to lift those weights, but they're just a little too big right now for today.
Yeah.
And I'll come back tomorrow and try it again.
Makes sense.
And for me, when I do feel like that, a lot of times I will also give myself a little bit of a boost by drawing or painting something that I would be familiar with or comfortable with. Do you guys ever do that?
Always.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah,
It's
every
like a
time.
comfort zone.
Yeah, what's your comfort zone kind of thing? Is it?
For me, it's, for me, it's usually like people and dynamic poses. So I really love to do studies on what you might call it, athletes.
That's
so
nice.
Oh, cool.
I just go on Pinterest and grab some images and study them.
That's such a good one, Pinterest. Like that's something I know like so many people use that. I don't, and I'm like getting into it now. But it's so powerful to
It's a
make-
trap.
It is.
Very easily.
It's like, oh my gosh, it's a good thing and a bad thing at the same time.
Why?
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like YouTube. It's like once you go into one video, on the side you see other things and you're like, oh, that looks interesting, and then you click there, and then you see other things, and then you just like keep going deeper and deeper, and then
Exactly.
next thing you know, you're looking at like really weird things that you never thought like, you'd
Yeah.
come across. Which is, you know, also maybe a good thing, but it could spend take up a lot of your time.
Yeah. That's interesting.
I see.
I think my comfort zone is well, I like drawing girls, so like that's easy. But then I think doing studies, like photo studies,
Oh yeah.
helps a lot too. It's like you don't really have to think about the composition or the shapes. You kind of just see it and then take it and try to replicate that. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously you have to think about color, but I think it's kind of like two birds, one stone. Like you gain confidence and also you learn a bit about a certain color that you liked or that you saw and wanted to put into like a later piece, for example.
Oh, I see. Well, yeah, lately, what I've been doing is I've been taking Iris Compete's class on schoolism. She has a fairy workout,
Nice.
right? Like
Oh yeah.
fantasy kind of characters.
Yeah.
And that totally, relates to the things I like to do. So
Nice.
I just been doing those, and it's nice because she supplies you with the subject matter. You don't have to think about what to paint. You just paint her stuff, and then she's painting along with you. When she's done, you're done, or that's the goal, anyways. That's what I do, and then I'll just put everything, away, and then start working on my work.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and generally, I don't like the warm ups. I don't like what I ended up doing. If that resonates with anybody listening, you don't have to like it, right? It's just about showing up and trying to do your best.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been actually using this with my schoolism students as well. Magma. That's been a very cool thing that's kind of come out at Lightbox Expo. So I would actually paint with them. As they're painting something, I could just be like, "Oh, Kofi, no, not like that." And like your cursor.
It's like hover over. It's like no.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe it makes it even scarier. But for me, it's been very cool using it as a teaching tool because you can see exactly how that person's painting, not what they painted, but how are they painting. Like, why are you going so slow? Stop thinking about it. Like you can start to give these kind of insightful things to the students now. Cool. Let's see, I'm gonna check that off. Let's go to another question now. So this question is from Inu again. What was the hardest time in your art profession? Felt so hard when being laid off. Oh, this person got laid off. That's definitely tough. All right. Let's have a little sharing stories of who had it the worst.
Man. Who wants to go first?
Whoever.
Okay.
Kofi, I know you got some stuff just by how you were saying it.
Yeah, I just hear it. It's like
Yeah, it's like, all right,
something's
who
gonna
wants to
spill
go
out.
first? Because my story is gonna destroy everybody's story.
Oh man,
Maybe
Jacob,
you should go
now.
last,
Okay.
actually.
Yeah. If
Okay,
it's, I'm sure it's gonna top everyone.
And I also want to welcome Jacob. Jacob tweeted at me or Instagrammed me or something, and I gave him
Mm.
the link as well.
Hey, Jacob, welcome.
Hi.
Okay, Jacob doesn't have a microphone yet, but
Oh, okay.
hopefully he'll get that set up. If not,
Definitely.
it's cool too. Yeah, so yeah, I'm very interested in hearing Kofi's, but maybe that should be the final. It almost seems like
No,
that.
Is it
I
that
can go.
bad?
I can go first. I can go first. It's no
Okay,
biggie.
go.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I'd say for the past 3 years, like I was really in a slump. I wasn't really getting any like serious art jobs, and I was kind of very down. So
Mm.
for a while, I've actually given up on art like on 3 occasions. But every time I
Oh
give
my
up,
God.
yeah, every time I give up because of the frustration, I'll go on social media and I'll see one of my favorite artists like post something awesome, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to get back into this again. So like on the third time, that was like 2 years ago, I gave up. When I got back into it, I was like, you know what? Whatever happens, I'm going to press forward till like I make this a reality. So this earlier this year, like I was actually in a slump and I was almost like on the brink of giving up. And funny enough, that was when Victoria Ying did this
Oh.
she gave out schoolism 1 year subscriptions, and I was luckily part of the like that day. I was literally sitting in this room and I had given up. I was just like, I don't know what to do anymore. So I saw the tweet and I just inputted my details. I was like, maybe something might happen, and luckily I was one of the people she picked. And since then, like it's been going like uphill. Like things have been much better. I've gotten a lot more job opportunities, like almost every week. Like I get new job opportunities, and it's
Wow.
yeah, like it's been awesome. It's
Oh,
been awesome. Yeah,
Good for you. Congrats
yeah.
on that.
that's awesome.
Thank you.
What perfect timing.
Yeah, perfect timing indeed.
Who wants to go next? Hardest, what was it? The hardest times in your art profession.
I can't think of any.
Oh, really?
Lucky.
I mean, I know. I mean, like, I struggle. Most of the sorry, that's not what I meant. Most of the projects I work on, I struggle like a lot.
Mm.
It's just I can't think of an
Oh,
interesting
okay,
one right now.
I think my toughest time was right in the beginning when we had no clients and we're just starting. You know, we're just eating into my brother's savings because my brother was the one that really believed in me from the beginning and really backed us. You know, and he's not rich, you know, by any means. Back then, he just really believed in us. And so, talk about pressure, you know, like, it's one thing to lose all your money.
Mhm.
That could really stink. It's another to lose your, you know, your brother's money,
Ooh,
right?
Mm,
Your
yeah.
family
Yeah.
members' money.
yeah, that's crazy.
And that was a really, you know, stressful but really good thing for me too, because then it became like I cannot fail at all. There is no chance I can fail. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't like there's that phrase you felt like you're backed up against a wall.
Mm.
This was like backed up against a cliff. That's how I felt,
Ooh.
right? And so just put all of our effort into it, 100%, But then we went to Comic-Con, we prepared, went to San Diego Comic-Con. Back then, that was like the main convention. And that's when we got discovered by Tim Burton.
Wow.
Yeah, his people. His people found us.
So cool.
It's an amazing story.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, hey Jacob. So
hey, I made
topic,
it.
Yes.
Hey, how's it going?
So the topic here is what was the hardest time in your art profession?
Oh, I know this one. Okay, cool. So basically, I don't have much experience with the whole work environment. And basically, I found out really quick that it's completely different working in a work environment, whereas when you work alone. And yeah, it's completely. Well, no. Yes, that is true. But no, I mean more of just the kind of pressure you can feel. Just the kind of it's like a whole nother skill for me. Just working under the gun at an actual place. I feel like that's yeah, that was tough.
But how is it different? How is it different than working under the gun alone?
I think it's because it's dealing with honestly, I'm not too sure. I'm not really too sure what that is. But basically, it was at an illustration company, and basically, or for movie posters, and I only lasted about a week because. Okay, so here's the tragedy in all of it. Basically, I got there, I started, and it was like I painted the worst thing I've ever painted in my life. It's like I started that day at painting. It was the worst. But gotten better, that's for sure.
So you feel you've probably were you're trying to overshoot what you were capable of doing, perhaps. That's what it kind of maybe sounds like.
I think it was that, and just having to perform something that I wasn't really. Okay, so this was my first time doing it, and I'd had no experience with that kind of. I think just.
Yeah, kind of like out of your comfort zone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally 100%.
Yeah, that was kind of like how I felt when we started Alice in Wonderland, because I was studying animation, or that's what I studied in school, not live action. So when we had to work on a live action film, and we were like, "Yep, I could do this. We could do this. We're super comfortable with this." We were not. And that kind of, yeah, that was really freaky. But it's like those moments are the moments that you have the most potential to grow, right? But it also has like the most potential to be completely scarred by the experience and fail miserably.
Oh yeah, exactly. Totally.
Yeah, it's kind of funny like that, so it's like I think about this a lot because, teaching and everything, some people, if you push them real hard, they're going to excel like crazy. And then some are not.
Totally. Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's kind of hard to help people when it's like that, right? You have to really, really pay attention to what drives them.
Absolutely.
It kind of sounds like I'm wondering if the reason why you had a hard time kind of adjusting was because of the set of eyes that you feel behind you when, like, when you're
Oh.
working
Yeah,
in an office because
Yeah.
it's definitely
I mean,
that.
I'm kind of talking from experience ish.
Yeah, you share.
I share
Yeah.
an
No,
office
it's
with Kay, but it does. I totally understand. I think
Yeah.
maybe it's because you're so used to that certain environment that like
Mm.
when you're put in a different setting that it's like you're not in the same creative workflow, and also like being
it's
conscious of like
absolutely.
if like when you do something, like personally I mess up a lot in the beginning, but I keep working on it and then it eventually gets better. And maybe
Mhm.
it's that stage of like it looking bad is what is like scary to for people to like find out and be like, you don't want them to think that you can't perform, and that kind of
Yeah,
like maybe
like
gets in your
I
head.
had, I think that's a great, yeah, great example, or instance. But to kind of parallel that, whenever I would be doing like life drawing with my like teachers, the people I look up to, really just, I just really look up to them, like Kevin Chen, Glenn Orbick, those guys. And I was really just, I love these guys. And, I'm drawing normally when, they're away. And then when they come by, it's like, oh man, I'm reduced. I can't draw. Can't
Yeah.
draw. Because I know they're looking over my shoulder, and I'm like,
Oh
oh
my
crap,
God.
I can't
It's
do this,
funny.
man.
Yeah,
Um,
headlights.
I've noticed that more and more now. Like last year, I remember walking into a room where there's this artist doing their talk, and then I noticed like they're doing fine, and then they noticed me, and then they
Yep.
said hi or something, and then their talk went straight downhill.
Yep.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh shoot, I'm ruining their talk, and I slowly
Oh my
back away.
God.
That happens
Totally.
now, which is really funny because I don't feel like I don't feel like that at all. I feel like I'm a normal
Yeah.
person and just,
Totally.
I just want to learn and see what this person's teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
funny as we talk about this because I feel like I'm not performing well as where I'm drawing and everyone's watching.
Same here.
So it's kind of like don't look at my stuff right now. This doesn't represent me.
Oh, what are you talking about? Those are so awesome.
I'm drawing little
You guys are
people.
doing pretty good.
They're so good.
I'm trying to find a desk, but I'm like, that back corner is actually looking pretty appealing at the moment.
Well, that's
Talking
the
about this
thing.
whole subject.
You can think outside of that, like the posters in the back. That was all drawn.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, you could draw a person, in between the aisles, like the teacher, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's great. And yeah, whenever like people would paint with me, like, or whenever I dropped into people's boards like unexpectedly, then a lot of times they'll draw a little heart there and go, "Yay, I like your art."
No, yeah, totally. No, that was actually my favorite part about Lightbox was just honestly going under a fake name and just drawing with people. I know no one knows about me, but that's fine. It's more of a self-conscious kind of thing again. But like I was drawing like a Van Gogh kind of character, and that was cool. And I think I actually got posted by on Magma or whatever. But that was interesting, along with everyone else. But
That's so awesome.
that was a lot of fun.
Are you painting right now, Jacob? You got the link,
Uh,
right? Or
yeah. No, I'm viewing it right now. I'm just
Oh, okay.
viewing what everyone else has done. It's great. I love it. You guys have done a great job.
Awesome.
Looks good.
Why don't we go to the next question here? That was a great question, by the way. Anu, the hardest time in your art profession. I feel like there's tons of them though, and part of it is just accepting it, liking it, thriving in it. That's I think the toughest parts is just when we're not used to it as much. All right.
Totally.
So Anonymous says, how do you keep your drive when working on a project for a long time? Now that's pretty subjective, long time, but we could just really keep it to how did you keep your drive when that project, you weren't digging it too much anymore. It's whatever that meant.
Yeah.
I got a bad answer for this. I quit. But that's not for everybody, and that's just really because, I'm gonna stop after this because it sounds horrible. But I have options. You know what I mean? And so if you have options, don't take any crap from anybody. If it's not gelling with you, it's not gonna help the project. It's not gonna help you.
Yeah, it seems like if you have the opportunity, then you can, move on.
Yeah, and that's what we talk about all the time, right, Masae? Like, I ask you, we talk about, do you actually want to do this project?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And sometimes I even encourage you to be like, I wouldn't,
Yeah.
Anybody else? Like, what do you do when you're on a project that you don't like?
I just brute force it.
Yeah.
Guess I can't afford leaving yet, or I don't dare to leave. I didn't know it was possible. But if I really need to motivate myself, I do a phone detox, for instance.
A phone detox?
Yeah, I'm not using my smartphone during working hours before Corona happened. So whenever I went to the office, I left my smartphone at home, and then I had a old-fashioned Nokia instead. And that helps me from, It's awesome. I can really recommend it because it keeps you from distractions, and it actually, work gets more fun because you don't have anything else that's rewarding your brain, so to speak. So try to eliminate all that brain candy and just use it for the actual work, and then work will feel more fulfilling again, at least for me.
That's such a good one, Andrea. Also, your little Instagram name disappeared. Maybe you want to write it beside your little fox there.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Yeah, and same, Jacob, if you want to write your Instagram handle on the desk there, go right ahead so people can, know a bit more about you.
I'll make a little sticker right behind him. How about that?
Sure.
Cool.
I need to zoom out and see what everyone's doing.
I think for me, with the topic,
yes,
of basically just, how do I actually, what was the topic?
How do you push through? It's pretty much like, how do you push through when the project is getting harder and harder to kind of like it?
Right. So with me, basically, if I'm having a hard time with the project, I'm more like Bobby. I don't have those kinds of options like Bobby, so I don't have that, that clout in that situation, but or those options. But with me, it's always try and find another well I can go into, or another project I can go into. So that could be like, I'm okay. So let me give some background. I don't like drawing or painting that much, but I like the performance. It's more of in the camp of what Milk Cole said, which was, he doesn't like drawing. He'd rather be, fishing or whatever. And but he loves the performance, and that's why he's there. He's there for the people, and it's a job, and because he loves watching it on the screen. That's where the magic happens. But with me, it's that, but it's also what is it I'm going through, and what experiences, or how can I use those experiences that I've gotten recently, and then adapt them to something else that I'm really passionate about, like whether that's a personal project or other, whether that's a new job coming in or whatever. But in terms of like an actual like job situation, I try and stick with it till the art director is like, maybe it's not, maybe you're not a good fit for this job, and then carry on with projects that I'm really passionate about, whether that's the story, like the writing part of it, or the actual uh, art aspect of it. So
Yeah, I
that's kind
also
of.
want to. I feel like such a jerk for saying my answer. So I have thought of a different example here. All right.
Take it back, take it back.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've worked on projects I didn't like. It's just I feel like I kind of what I do is I stick to the little parts that I do like, and I really try to expand those parts in my mind, and shrink down the other parts. Really just concentrate on those parts. It's like if I'm doing something that I don't like, then I'll think about, oh, well, once I'm done this, then I get to do that fun thing that I do like. Right? And just keep trying to expand the parts that you like. Um, Smurfs started off really, really fun. Um, then it gets to a point, like a lot of projects do, where they might get really nitpicky about the smallest details, and that's no fun.
Mm.
Right? So I remember at those times, I just really focused on, well, after this, I'll get to render something a whole bunch, and I really like to do that. So, that became the thing. All right. I feel a little bit better. Why don't we move on? So the next question here is Anonymous asks, I was recommended for a writing. Okay, let me just paraphrase here. I was recommended for writing websites. I was surprised to see my first try was well received, but I'm not sure if I should do it because I need money. What to do? So I guess this person is really, it's like, what do you do when you get demand for something that you don't want to really do, but you're good at it? Right? That's what it kind of sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Mm.
I say don't do it. It
But if you need the money, that's what this person is saying. I think we need to define the word need, though. Do you need the money or you want the money? Because, like, I forget who I was talking to about this, where we're discussing together about, like, how life has a way, or society, or the system, or whatever you want to call it, has a way of making things harder for you as you get older. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I started off my life, I started off my career, I'm 20 something years old or something maybe, and so I don't have a lot of expenses. You get to 30, you turn around and you're like, oh, okay, I got that car payment now, I got this payment, I got that payment, and now I need this job more. And then maybe again 30 something, and then all of a sudden you have kids and you're like, oh, well, I gotta make money for the kids, and it just gets harder and harder to have that flexibility to change what you want to change.
Okay.
Right? So when you are having a hard time changing, and the only way that you can kind of keep going is doing the things that you don't want to do, then what do you do? Right? Like, I think, like, yeah, thinking about this, it feels like you would still need to really delve into the details of, okay, what are your responsibilities? Why do you need this job exactly? Right? If it's like, well, shoot, I got this Tesla to pay for and I got this big house to pay for, then it's probably not smart to just keep doing what you don't want to do. Instead, downsize so that you can readjust and come back and doing the things that you do want to do.
Totally.
And
Yeah, really agree.
and even with what you're saying, Bobby, like, it brings to mind like you also considering the fact that in as much as you are like shooting for a job that you want to do, you also have to be like practical and consider your circumstances and situation. Like as you said, like if you have certain responsibilities that are pressing, which you need to meet financially, like it's a good idea to like have that job that you don't really like, but you're using to build that that sense of like financial freedom to the point where you can move to the job that really fulfills you. Because if you if you just if you have like a situation where you really need to pay your bills and you stop doing that job that's currently giving you a consistent income, and you are not really finding work for your passion in the short term, is like going to cause some problems for you. And even considering the times that we are in right now with COVID and all of that, like it can be like very tricky. So yeah,
Have you ever
that's what
heard of
I.
that saying where it's like, oh, when one door closes, the another one
Another one
opens?
opens.
Mm-hmm.
But the going from one door to the other door, there's monsters in the hallway. It's very
Yeah.
difficult to
That's so
do
Absolutely.
true.
that transition,
So
right?
true.
Mm.
So that's the thing that we kind of have to be ready for, especially if we've been doing some cushy job for the last 20 years or something, and you want to switch now. Get ready, because your body is not ready to, all the difficulties. Their mind might not be all ready for those difficulties yet, and you have to psych yourself up. You got to get ready for those difficulties because they are coming, just like they came for everybody. That's the price that you pay.
Mm.
So true.
Nowadays, I tend to go into stuff going, all right, I'm gonna get a lot of bricks thrown in my face, but it's so worth it, and we're gonna keep going. That's how I start a project. Now, that's not for everybody. Some people, they don't like to focus on anything negative at all.
Mm.
But I feel like in my mind, it's important to focus on both so that you're ready for both. You're ready for success. That's an important thing. And you're ready for failure, because the failure might just be a step on your path to success, right? So it's not actually failure. It's just a step that you have to take backwards before you could go forwards.
Mm.
Yeah, that's saying you gotta slow down to speed up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's so
Definitely,
cool.
definitely true. So like I'm in a position. I hate talking about myself, but point of view. Basically, I don't like art as much right now, and so basically, I'm actually looking to work at like a Michaels or something. And I live with my parents now, and I'm like, I just I need a new perspective on why I do what I do. And I know a lot of people don't have that luxury of moving in with their parents. But honestly, I think it's just to find that passion again. I think it's really worth it, because otherwise it's just gears grinding gears. It's not worth it. Um, so yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but there were times where I totally hated drawing or painting because everything I did, I felt like it stunk.
Mm. Yeah,
Right, and that's
so
like
true.
a hurdle that many of us have to get over before things get good.
Mm.
Right, so that question is a really good one because it probably pertains to pretty much everybody. Like you're gonna go through these periods where you realize that your stuff kind of stinks before it gets good.
Very true.
All
That's
right.
when you're about to learn something new, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
your hand needs to catch up. Your taste is changing and your brain is changing. So your brain is ahead.
Yep.
And it's a matter of your skills to catch up. So I try to see whenever I'm struggling that way, I try to see that as something positive and just keep going and hope for the
Yeah,
best.
That's
that's
great.
so true.
Here's another. Wow, we're getting some good topics today. This person, anonymous, says, while pursuing a career in art, is having a backup plan or backup option important? Now, I have, like, I've always had a strong opinion about this, but I also know that it's really just, it's also because I succeeded, and that was no backup plan,
Yep.
right? Like, it's kind of like what we were talking about in the very beginning of this stream, where it's like, as long as you keep going with all of those adversities, then it really paid off.
Mm.
But some people, it might totally turn them off, and then they don't end up pursuing it anymore. So it's kind of a difficult one to answer.
Yeah.
And I guess with something like this, like um, everybody's path can be different. Like for certain artists, like they had a backup plan and they were doing something. They had a plan B, and then they kept working bit by bit towards having art as their full-time career, and it worked out for them. For others, they had no backup plan, and art was the only option. Is either they succeed at it or nothing else. And for some artists as well, it worked for them. So I think you have to, as an individual, you should assess the kind of person you are, your conditions and circumstances, and also like in as much as it's very cool to say like, yeah, I don't have any backup plan, I think it's a wiser decision to make, to like have some level of cushioning so that even if you fail, it's not as disastrous. Like you can still pick yourself up and keep moving.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I hesitate to answer this one, because I just went like, okay, let's throw away the parachute. We're doing this. There is no going
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
I remember feeling like, there's probably gonna be like one or two times where it really feels like throwing away the parachute if you really, really want to go for it. Now, like the thinking behind this, for me, has always been like, okay, if I know I have to succeed, then I'll succeed. I'll have the best chance of succeeding. But if I know that there's a backup plan when things are getting a little rough, then I won't really push as hard.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Like if you're tired and you know that you have to do this, like there's a gun to somebody that you love, their head, like you're gonna keep painting. If that was the thing that this crazy person wants you to do, you would keep going. And same with,
and you get surprisingly fast when you have to.
yeah, painting and crying at the same time.
Yeah.
Right.
And even on the topic, Bobby, I'll say like I actually subscribe to the having no parachute. Like for me, it's art or nothing. Like I don't see myself like in the future like not doing like an art-based job. So like with that in mind, I felt like it was up to me to prove my parents right and the naysayers right, to prove myself right that I can make this into like a viable career. So like, and having that mindset, like even during the rough times, like I just kept like reminding myself that it gets better. Like it doesn't matter that it feels bad now. Eventually, like things are going to turn out in my favor. And usually when as I don't know who said it, but one of you guys said that like when you are at the toughest point, when you're at the breaking point, that's when like you're going to have a breakthrough. And in my experience, that has been true. Like when you feel like giving up most, that's when something awesome is about to happen. So you should just keep pushing forward.
Now, Kofi, you're in Ghana, right?
Yeah. I'm in Ghana.
So did that? Do you feel like your location affected your belief? Because I have definitely felt that, and I live in Toronto. You know.
I, honestly, for me, I don't think. I think if I were to look at my location would rather dampen my belief. But what helped me was I I'll be honest, I listen to a lot of motivational like speakers. I read a lot of like stuff that has to do with mindset, like developing a very tough mindset and a very positive mindset as that. So like by um and even your content as well, Bobby. Watching your videos, you really have a very positive attitude towards pursuing your career as an artist. So like by taking in all of that content, it like kind of fortified in my mind that this is what I want to do. And also one thing I wanted to point out is that like one thing the tough time actually does for you is it cleans away the chaff or like the unnecessary stuff. So going through the rough times actually made me understand that I am fully committed to making art a career for myself. Like it wasn't something where I was like, maybe I want this to work or maybe not. It was like now I understand. I've gotten to the point where it's like this is the only thing for me. So I'm fully convinced in my mind that this is what I want to do in the future. And yeah, like that's what worked for me. Because the reason why I said if I look at my environment, it would have dampened my resolve is because in Ghana, like art at the time, and even still currently, things are changing bit by bit. But art isn't really that respected as a viable career option, at least for you guys in the States and in Europe and in parts of Asia. Art is something that is seen as a job, like you guys create content on it. But in Ghana, we have a very young industry when it comes to commercial art. So look, like if I had looked at my environment, it would have like killed my spirit.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, that's also why I was like, let's have some, other people on here as well. Not just me answering questions because like everybody has a valuable point of view. I really believe that. That's great. And having you say it, Kofi,
Yeah.
as a person that still lives in Ghana and is getting the job opportunities that you really worked for, it really gives a lot of people, I feel, something to hang on to. That's
Yeah.
that's real. Back in the day, I could tell people that a lot more, and then they would believe it because uh, it I was still new.
Mm.
Now sometimes like people go, yeah, but you're blah blah blah, you've done this and you're established. I'm like,
Mm.
that wasn't how it always was.
Yeah.
But it gets more I guess, yeah, it doesn't really connect with people as much.
Mm.
It's like if like a rapper keeps singing about their poor life after they get platinum records or something. It's like, what are you doing?
That's the greatest. Oh my gosh. It's the greatest.
It's like you don't know what it feels like.
Yeah, like the example I think of is Jenny from the Block. I'm like, Jenny from the Block? Are you still Jenny from the Block though? I don't know. I don't really believe it. Could you eat a street dog? If somebody gave you a street pretzel, would you still eat that? I don't know. All right. We have Mina Roy asking a question. What is the number one communication advice you believe everyone should practice regarding working on a team or collaboration? Oh, this is so good. There's so many good topics today. Number one communication advice.
Listening.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
number one.
That's a really good one.
For me, it's I like listening. I like the listening thing that really connects. For me, it's practicing empathic communication. So when you're talking, you're really trying to think about how you're coming across, which I'm constantly trying to improve anyways. And just always kind of thinking about that, like how is this person's experience of what it is that I'm saying or doing? Is it a good one? Because sometimes you're trying to do good things, but you're acting like a jerk, or vice versa, or whatever. It's that practice of trying to put yourself into the other person's shoes, because it's also like everybody's different. So the things that you like, the things that you appreciate, other people might not appreciate it at all. And yeah, that's a very tough thing that I still am always trying to work on. But I feel like I need to keep working on it. And actually, to really open up here a little bit, the thing that I find that I need work on now is that nowadays, like I try not to lose my shit. I try to stay calm and be a nice person, lots of patience. But when things are bugging me, I'll try my best not to have it show, but it shows. I'm pretty darn sure it shows. Masae knows what I'm talking about. She has this very polite smile right now. But I'm trying. And at least now I'm more aware of it, Yeah.
No, I was just listening.
You're very polite.
Alright.
Yeah, definitely trying to put yourself in that other person's shoe. Trying to like, I know, Bobby, you tell me, especially like when you write emails, like before you send it, pretend that this email is coming to you.
Yeah.
And how do you feel receiving this email? That's a really good email communication advice that you gave me. It's like, okay, pretend you're just minding your own, business, your day. You open up this email. How do you feel?
Yeah.
So I think that would be good for emails and messaging.
Yeah, if I ever gave you that like sense where I'm like annoyed, but I'm trying to be polite, I'm sorry.
Again, it's like me trying to put myself in your shoes. I know how stressed you are with certain things. So.
It's like sometimes afterwards I think about it, I'm like, man, did I just baby that person so much? You know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, they didn't get it. Okay, well, how about next time you just do it like this? Would that be okay? Like, it seems so fake, so but yeah.
Work in progress.
This is awesome.
All right, here we go. Next question here: how to balance having fun and being serious about it while drawing? This is a really good one because a lot of times you're on this project for a very, very long time, maybe years. And when that happens, it's like, especially the people that are organizing it, the director, the production designer, whoever that's bringing in the team, they know this. They know that they're going to be working with you for a very long time, so they want to make sure that they're going to have a good time working with you as well. Or at least that's a huge thought in my head. It's like, yeah, you're very skillful, but you're a jerk. I don't want to hire you. I don't want to work with you. Right? So being able to have fun while you're working is actually more important than some might think, because it's also important for the team to enjoy, your company, not just you working on the project.
So true. That's very true.
Any thoughts about that? And we could have a slightly different discussion here as well. How do you balance? How do you balance the kind of like, I'm a real person talking to you as another real person, versus you are my client. I need to be professional, right? How do you make that balance? Well, that's something that has been more of a topic these days, especially with the amount of meetings that we tend to have now with quarantine and everything. It's like generally everybody has more meetings now. So, you know, in the meetings, you don't want it to, you want people to really look forward to having a meeting with you.
Oh.
Right? That's like the ultimate, when somebody is excited to have a meeting with you. So, I don't know. For me, it's been like, I tried to start it off by just putting my best foot forward. Like I heard this conversation with Oprah one time where she talked about putting her arms out nice and open when she was going to interview somebody that she didn't feel like really liked her too much, or didn't have a strong connection with her. So she just started off, I'm going to put my best foot forward, and I'm going to just open my arms up with positive, you know, energy and love. And then they hugged, and then it was a great interview after that.
That's cool.
Right? So a lot of times I'll start off a meeting where I'll be the first person to say hi. Hey, how's it going? You know, I give my Chew Stream voice.
Nice.
Definitely.
Yeah. That tends to work pretty well, you know, just to kind of start everything on the right foot. Anybody want to add to that at all?
Just give everyone the benefit of the doubt. Say just what Bobby said. Exactly.
Well, this has been really, really fun. Let's do one last question before we call it a day. What were some of the biggest learning experiences in transitioning LBX to online Expo? Oh, wow. Well, yeah, for me, it was like, oh, yeah, everybody's in different time zones. That was the biggest thing for me, because last year it was in Pasadena. Everybody was together. We didn't have to mess around with like time zones as much. You know, so that became a big thing. Like, how do we organize this when everybody's in a different time zone? And you start talking about times, you got to make sure that you're talking to them about the right times. There are so many difficult things. There's so many big learning experiences. But what about you guys? Because, like, well, you know, Masae, Kofi, you guys haven't really presented as much before, or perhaps not amongst that many people.
Yeah, I haven't. So it was a really new and exciting experience to be a part of the panel. You know, it was very terrifying, but you know, it was great to be a part of such an experience.
What was the biggest kind of learning experience that you got from that? Like, how did you deal with the nerves and stuff like that? Like, you painted with some big artists.
Yes. The funny thing, I was telling Masae and a couple of friends when we were drawing together, I was saying that, like, after the meet and greet, we had a meet and greet, and after that, like, I met with like so many crazy like artists like I've looked up to for years now, and I'm in the same room as them, and I realized like they are not really like different, like that different from me. They are also human beings trying to figure their way out. Some of them were having issues with their working with the internet and all of that stuff, and it was like interesting to see that like yeah, everybody is Like they're just normal people. It's just that they are very good at drawing and painting, but they're just normal people, just like you and I. Yeah. So it took away the nerves for me. So that was one thing I learned from meeting all of the awesome artists and creatives at Lightbox Expo.
That's a really great lesson. Totally. That's it's hard to actually get that lesson. Um, it's very common to hear other people say it, right? But it's hard to believe it sometimes.
Yeah. So like after the meet and greet, like all the jitters like left. Like I wasn't scared anymore. I was like, yeah, I'm just meeting with a group of friends and we're just having a fun time talking and drawing together. And since then, it's been that way. Like I'm not on a normal day, I'd be scared to be on this, knowing that a lot of people might be watching. But now, like it's all gone. Yeah.
Well, this has been really, really wonderful. I think my biggest learning outcomes from doing this stream is I just need to prepare earlier. Yeah, because I'm streaming from the same machine that I'm painting with, and that means that you can't see my cursor.
Oh.
Right? Everybody can see each other's cursor or everybody else's cursors on YouTube and stuff like that, but they won't be able to see mine. I swear I was painting. All right.
Bobby's the biggest slacker here.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with me, sharing your thoughts. It's been great. And for everybody else, thank you for tuning in.
It's fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bob.